Welcome to the Bucher and Friends podcast, co-starring 10-year NFL veteran and Super Bowl champion, Will Blackmon.
Manning from the end zone. He throws, and a deflect away, and it is picked off by Will Blackmon, the former Giant.
Tim Dwight watches it hit, bounces, picks it up at the 10, slips a defender, fumbles the football, it's up for grabs, it's covered in the end zone by Will Blackmon for a Green Bay touchdown!
And now, here is your host,
Let's send it over to Ric Bucher.
Ric Bucher.
Welcome to another episode of Bucher and Blackmon, subsidiary of Bucher and Friends on the United WeCast Network. I'm Ric Bucher. He's 12-year NFL vet and Super Bowl champ Will Blackmon. You can catch him on NFL Game Day live on Sundays on the NFL Network and on Twitter at Will Blackmon. You can catch me on Bleacher Report or on Twitter at Ric Bucher, and you can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Bucher Friends. We're recording this after the Monday night game where we saw the Texans spot the Tennessee Titans 10 points and then roll over them 34. Final score, was it 34-17?
Yeah, 34-17.
34-17 was the score, yes. So my first thought is we don't really talk about the Texans as being Super Bowl capable. Should we be talking about them as Super Bowl capable?
I mean, this is 8 straight, right?
Yep.
I mean, they're playing good defense. Obviously, they're running the ball well. They're like the quiet team right now. Them and the Colts are the quiet teams right now in the AFC. Slowly creeping up the ladder.
Yeah, the distinction for me is the Colts, if the Colts make the playoffs, all well and good. I said at the beginning of the year that the Texans would win their division. And so their being a playoff team is not a surprise to me. But 8 straight, the way Deshaun Watson is playing, the way they really just put the clamps on Tennessee, makes me think, are they more than that? Can you picture a scenario in which they beat the Kansas City Chiefs or the New England Patriots?
I can see that.
What kind of game would that be?
Definitely an explosive game. The one thing that the Texans do have, they have a wonderful pass rush. And if you have a wonderful pass rush, you already are ahead of the game. And they can score points. Obviously, they can run the ball, and they do a lot of deep crossers and a lot of play action. And Deshaun Watson does everything he can to make a play. You know, even if it cost him taking a big hit, he's going to figure out how to make a play.
By the way, how do you feel about that? Because we saw Carson Wentz go down. You love guys being dynamic. You love guys who want to extend a play and make a big play. But this is always the struggle for me. Like, how do you find that balance in a game as violent as the NFL and say, go win the game, but be careful?
No, I know, right? Exactly. It's like hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
No, I mean, he's gonna play the way he plays. He's not gonna. He'll probably be more smart in terms of, okay, if there's a situation where there's probably 4 guys coming after me, I'm not gonna spin out. I'll probably just get down. But he's a winner, man, and that's what he tries to do, and I respect that.
His opposite number, Marcus Mariota, finished 22 for 23. I believe he completed 19 of 19, whatever, before he missed one. It was basically in the final minutes where he finally threw an incomplete pass. 303 yards, 2 TDs. Finishes with a passer rating of 147.7, a higher rating than Deshaun Watson, and yet the Titans were never really in this game. Explain that to me. Help me. Like, how do I assess Mariota's performance within the context of what their offense did?
They were 4 for 12 in third down percentage, 33%, and they were 0-2 in the red zone. So those two things right there, like you look around, you're like, oh man, he had pretty good numbers, pretty good stats, but it's kind of like when it mattered, 4-12 out of third down, you got to convert those to keep the ball moving. And you get in the red zone, you got to convert, you got to get points. That's 14 points right there.
Is there a way to detect whether it's Mariota not taking chances? I mean, some of this is he should be able to check out of things, right? In certain situations. Who is being conservative here?
Probably the OC. I mean, I got to the point where I kept looking up, and every time I looked up, I would see Derrick Henry running the football. which they weren't effective running the ball at all. Corey Davis had the most yards rushing, and he had 1 carry.
Right. Well, and you're down by 17 for the better part of this game,
and you're running a dive over the 1 hole, the 0 hole.
Help me understand. To me, that feels like, well, we can't win this game, so I don't understand that game plan. Help me understand what the logic would be behind that. If you're trying to win the game, why are you doing that? How do you think you're going to win the game by running the ball down by 3 scores?
It doesn't make any sense. You have to throw the ball. You have to go for it. And that's, I mean, it looked like they were being a little more conservative than I would have liked. But as you see, Mariota was playing very well, and Corey Davis is now catching stride. I would have kept going after him. He only has 4 targets, and they kept trying to get Deion Lewis going, but they took him out of the game. He had 7 catches for 33 yards. So they said, forget that. They should have just took more shots downfield, more double moves, more things like that, because Houston they have an aggressive secondary. And if you're able to run double moves on them and run crosses and all kinds of things like that, you have an opportunity. So it was mind-boggling. I don't think they gave themselves a chance, despite Mariota's near perfection game.
Yeah, I mean, this is a lot different because we had Phillip Rivers on Sunday. I think he completed
25 straight.
Yeah, but they were rolling. It was reflected in what was happening, which you would expect from Phillip Rivers. I don't get. So Mariota's having a good game. Mariota seems to be on point. That to me would be the time where you go, okay, let's take a shot downfield. He's feeling good.
Right.
He's connecting. He's on target. The ball's coming out of his hands well. I mean, ultimately to me, it shows a lack of confidence in Mariota. It's like, we know he can do this. Let's not ask him to do more.
Well, if you go to the Chargers game, he was completing these passes, and they were in the red zone 6 times, and they converted 5 times in the red zone. Like, they were moving the ball effectively downfield. That's the difference. Like, when they go back and they look, they're like, oh, hopefully they can make some moves. So if you look at, touchdown for the Titans,
touchdown,
right?
Field goal.
Touchdown, and then they went for 4th down, right, and lost it. Punt, turnover and downs, punt. They had the touchdown, punt, fumble. That's all their action was done by early 3rd quarter.
Yeah. As a defensive player, how conscious are you of the offensive game plan? I wonder how in tune you are to the halftime adjustments offensively. I would imagine all that's unit by unit, as opposed to there's some sort of team understanding of what's going on.
You are in tune, but you can't say much. I mean, if anything, you like to have a conversation during the week. Like, so when I was on the Redskins, I would always stay really late and watch film. And the other coach who would stay really, really late was Sean McVay. And so I would go across the hall and just say what's up to him, and we'd talk back and forth, and we would just talk football and share information on what's going on this week. And I may be like, hey, this corner does this, and he may give me some info on the offense. And we talk then, just have some dialogue during the week. But once the game time comes, like, you don't really, you don't say anything, because like, these coaches prepare all week. So during the week, it's okay to have these dialogues and conversations about each other's game plan. But during the game, you want to be sensitive to the fact, because it's the heat of the battle and everybody is stressed out trying to make sure they make the right call. So you be sensitive to that. In terms of like the halftime stuff, all you can do is just give them encouragement. You can be like, hey man, air it out or whatever. I don't know.
I guess for me, I'm trying to put myself in the place of the Titans defensive players in this game. And if they're watching this kind of conservative, okay, what are we, like, we're trying to hold these guys from scoring, but we're not trying to get anything done. Like, how aware are they of, or are they scratching their heads along with everybody else in terms of what's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. Maybe it's between the coaches, really. Players, we're just hopeful that they have made some different adjustments, but it's really between the coaches. So, like I said, it's super sensitive. You have to be smart there during the game, what you're talking about.
So it's
at
political.
The end of the day, at the end of the day, defenders are like, you know what? Let's take care of our job. If the offense is struggling, then let's pick it up on our end. Let's take more chances trying to get the ball out. Let's be more disciplined. Let's get off on the field. Let's get off on 3rd down to give our offense a chance. Things like that.
If somebody's speaking out on defense, and I don't know whether you ever played with anybody who's like, the hell's our offense doing? What would it like ever like spoke their mind about what was going on? That is breaking protocol. Like, you put yourself in a bad spot if you air that laundry out loud on the sideline, even if it's just on the sideline.
Right. You gotta be smart.
Interesting. I guarantee you there's some thought bubbles over there with those Titan players.
Of course there. Yeah, of course there is. Especially, and also too, us, if the DBs are getting lit up, I know the offense is like, oh man, what are these guys doing? Get it together, you know?
Right.
Like if I got beat on a touchdown or something, Deshaun Jackson will come up to me and be like, Will, you owe me one. You owe me one. I'm like, I got you, bro. I got you, you know?
Did I ask you how good Deshaun Watson can be?
He's a winner. That's the cool thing about him. He has always won in Georgia. In the state of Georgia, in high school, that is. He won at Clemson. Anytime he's healthy, he gives his team a chance. He's a playmaker, and that's what you love about him. He's a playmaker. He's humble. He's a leader. Guys gravitate to him, and I know Hopkins loves him right now because he finally has one quarterback after playing with like 15 quarterbacks. But he still produced. That's what's really cool about it. They showed a stat saying he's had Deshaun Watson for 17 games, and he caught for over, almost 1,200 yards, 110 receptions. That's the season worth right there. It's
also, the synergy always intrigues me because I swear that DeAndre Hopkins is now making catches that he wasn't making before. Now, some of that is because you had quarterbacks who couldn't get the ball there on a consistent basis. But I would dare say that when you're playing with a really good teammate, you extend yourself beyond that because you're always expecting that they're going to maybe it's the payback because they make plays for you. Like they make you look good by doing amazing things and you want to return it in kind, or they raise your level because, okay, if that dude's bringing it, that dude's balling, let me show you what I got. But I just feel like I never thought DeAndre Hopkins, honestly, in the past, I wasn't sure that he was a number one. I just wasn't. I wasn't sure he was a number one. A number two, okay. I wasn't convinced that he had, and I'm still not, actually. I'm not convinced that he has that separation speed. I think he has great hand. What he's shown me is he can be a one, but he kind of does it a different way. He doesn't do it, just blowing you way over the top. He doesn't have. That's the one element in my estimation that he doesn't have, where he's gonna kill you over the top. Antonio Brown will kill you over the top. You take a misstep and he's gone. Odell, he's gone. Julio Jones is gone. I just never felt that with Hopkins.
Hopkins is he's just the type of person where he's just a playmaker. It doesn't really matter what he's doing.
But he's the grindy type guy. He's going to make really tough catches. He's going to make catches in traffic. He's going to make catches where there's a really small window. He's going to, it's almost in some ways he makes up for the fact that maybe he doesn't create that separation, but he's still going to get the job done between his hands and just his toughness and giving up his body in certain situations.
Yeah, like he's very dangerous from the 5 to 25 yard range. Extremely dangerous.
Exactly.
But that's all you need from him. He's going to move the chains. He's going to score touchdowns, and he's going to make the big plays when needed.
So you're not disagreeing with me in my assessment of what he is.
No, I've always thought he was a number one receiver. I always thought he was incredible. I always had him in the top 5 of best receivers in the NFL. I've always had that for him.
Okay. Well, top 5, but probably 4th or 5th in the top 5.
Yeah. For me, it's always AB and Odell. It won't change ever.
And Julio or no?
And Julio is 3.
Julio's stuck with... I mean, is it the quarterback? Is it the OC?
It's the OC.
Yeah.
It's not the quarterback, and it's nothing else. You have a boatload of weapons over there, and you decide to use a pen. You have all this artillery.
Right.
You're
using a penknife.
Yes. Come on, man. Use a crossbow.
A crossbow? What do you know about crossbows?
Why? You hunt?
No, I have a buddy of mine who does.
Oh, so you know nothing about crossbows either.
I know nothing about crossbows. You threw it out there. I was like, all right, let me find out. He collects boxing gloves. What else don't I know about Will Blackmon?
I do not collect crossbows by any means.
Thought you might take me on an adventure there.
No.
All right. Speaking of OCs, the Jags fired their OC, Hackett, and they benched Blake Bortles. First of all, why are you laughing?
Because that place is a mess, man. I don't know why it is. I don't understand. I just don't understand. Right now, it's looking like 2013 all over again. However, Gus always it was still a positive. When we were losing in 2008, we lost 8 straight games. It was still a positive place. We didn't have the best roster that everyone was appealing, but we fought hard every day. And we had a really cool coach in Gus Bradley who came in every day and brought energy, man. And it was a cool. I actually enjoyed it being there. And I never been on a losing team my entire life. Flag through the pros. That's the only losing season I ever had. But it was still a learning curve. They're at the point where you go from the AFC Championship game to they lost 7 games in a row. You go to Buffalo and lose to the Bills.
So help me understand. You and I both have a lot of faith and confidence in Tom Coughlin. How is it that Tom Coughlin is presiding over this?
Because he has Blake Bortles there.
Okay.
He probably made the switch.
Did he make the decision to bring Blake back?
On a shorter deal where they have the option to get out next year, probably. Hey, let's give this thing one more try.
I liked that thinking at the time, but now that I consider the window and how small the window is, how quick these things turn over. Like the Jags were ready to go.
That's why they brought him back, because he was there. He played well in the playoffs.
Yeah. You know what that is? We're making the best of a tough situation. That's not ideal.
Making the best of a tough situation, because if we don't have him, then who do we have? Who do we have that we have to rebuild and start over again? Let's do this one more time. Let's see what happens. And if he is who we thought he was, we can't let him off the hook.
This is what I don't understand about that move. If you're getting rid of the offensive coordinator, if you think the offensive coordinator is the problem, why are you then shelving Bortles too? Shouldn't Bortles get an opportunity?
They have to do something to him. They have to do something to Blake. They can't release him.
No, I get that. But why not play him with the new OC?
Yeah, why not keep Hackett and let him work with Cody?
Okay, either one. I'm good with that. But when you switch two, it's almost like we don't want anybody taking the blame, any one person taking the blame. So we're just going to kick everybody to the curb.
That's why, once again, they have the option to leave next year, and they probably will. That is his, third OC?
So here's the thing. Somebody pointed out that Bortles' numbers at this point last year are almost identical to his numbers this year. Like, he hasn't really fallen off. His numbers have not fallen off. His production has not really fallen off. You know what's fallen off? The defense has fallen off. Special teams has fallen off. Yeah,
the defense has fallen off.
But you're benching your quarterback and you're firing your OC. The defense rests.
The defense apparently is resting because they are not getting it done right now.
Do you see a personnel change there? What's missing?
What's missing is the lack of, you know what it is? I'm going to come to their defense right now. They are freaking exhausted of looking at that mess on the other side of the ball. They are exhausted. They are just drained, worn out, and can't take it anymore. And that's what's going on right now. That's what they're dealing with. That's why they're struggling, because they can't take it anymore. They did it last year. It's funny because, he had the same numbers last year, but the defense got it done. And this year, it's just draining. It's absolutely draining. They were number 2 last year in total defense at the end of the year. Number 2. And this year, I think they're down to like 7 right now. Last year, they gave up 16 points a game. They've given up 22 a game. And they're scoring, -5?
Yeah. Well, and here's the difficulty. This is where the Jags really made their mistake, because they weren't anticipating the change in the game. They weren't anticipating the rule changes that have made it more of a vertical game, more of an offensive, more of a passing game than it ever has before. So you are now not able to exploit that because you don't have a guy who can get the ball there.
Well, yeah. I mean, they lost Fournette first game.
And that.
They could not run the ball at all. And that was the biggest deal. If they could run the ball, that was their way of protecting Blake, because people had to respect the run game.
So is it over? Like, do you expect this is it for Blake? Blake's gone, and you go and you draft a quarterback, and does this close the window?
For me, it's a wrap for Blake. It's 100% over for Blake. Somebody might get moved in the offseason for a first-round pick, so they can move into the first round higher up and get somebody. I truly think this is it. For them to be over it right now. They're like, okay, we're probably done for the year. We're over it. We're moving on. Yeah, this is scoring 17 points a game and giving up 22 points a game. That is an L.
Yes, it is. I meant to ask this in yesterday's podcast. I'm going to circle back to this. And I was lazy. I didn't look up the number of Thanksgiving Day games that you played in. So I'm doing my work here. How many Thanksgiving Day games did you play in? And what was that? Because you talked about how you loved, guys love Monday night, love when they know they're the only game in town. I wonder if that applies to Thanksgiving too.
Thanksgiving is cool because you're the only game on TV at the time. I think I played in one. I missed one because I just came back from an injury in 2007. I was supposed to play in Detroit, but I missed that game. But I did play 2016 in Dallas when I was on the Redskins. I did play in that game. And that was a fun game, despite we lost that game, but it was exciting to play on Thanksgiving, just being the fact that I grew up watching it all the time, and now I'm actually playing. And even when I worked on the network on Thursday, on Thanksgiving, I was excited for that too, just to be part of the whole football and Thanksgiving spirit.
I worked sideline on some NBA Christmas Day games. And fortunately, I want to say they were always West Coast. I think one of them I took my family with me so that we celebrated in the hotel. And the other time it was here in the Bay Area. So I was able to have Christmas with the fam and then work the game. And you're right. There is something special about just being in that atmosphere on a holiday. But I will also say, since I'm not doing that anymore, I'm not traveling on holidays the way that I once did. There's something to be said for being able to have a normal hang with the fam type of experience too.
Right. No, I love that. Yeah.
What have you experienced since you retired or since you stopped playing? You haven't
since I stopped playing. Since I stopped playing. Since I took some time. I took a leave of absence.
Exactly. By the way, we switched from 10 years to 12 years, and because we're including the CFL and we're including injury.
No, actually, I say 12 years because I missed 2012 season.
Yeah,
but I was actually working out for teams, and I also missed 2016, but I was in training camp. So had I played those 2 years, it would have been a cured 12 seasons. But I was 12 seasons as an NFL player.
Fair enough. It's 12. It's 12 from here on out.
It's 12 from here on out.
That said, what is it since you've taken a break from playing that you've been able to experience that you weren't able to experience prior to this?
Dirt bike riding.
Was that something you always wanted to do and you couldn't because it was in your contract that you couldn't?
No, I never had any clauses in my contract saying I couldn't do that stuff, but I was cautious to not do anything extreme. So I do a lot of skateboarding, longboarding, and I go to Lake Elsinore and ride the dirt bike trails.
Wait a minute. You're a surfer?
I do not surf.
Are you longboard skateboard?
Longboard skateboard. Oh, okay. Yeah. So that I'm going to do some skiing. So just to be more adventurous and not have to worry about, I got a season coming up.
Well, you would never participate in winter sports either. I mean, you were never going on a ski vacation, or you weren't doing any of that, were you? Snowboarding?
No, but I will.
You will now.
I want to, yeah.
But you never even had the opportunity.
I never had the opportunity
to do that previously.
No.
Yeah.
I did have the opportunity, but we decided not to. We decided to go to Maui instead. But truly to answer your question, what did I gain? Just to truly be, a full-time just husband and father, just to mentally be present in the house. Usually I'm always training, working out and thinking of tomorrow, but to truly be that wake up, take the kids to school, make breakfast. And the cool thing now is when both kids are in school, my wife, Sean, and I, we get to actually talk, have coffee.
So that's a double-edged sword because,
not at all.
Well, it's not for you. Okay. And the little bit I know about you and your relationship with Shauna, I'm sure it's not. But for a lot of guys, and I mean a lot of guys, when they stop playing and they're home, suddenly, oh my God, now we got to talk to each other? Now we got to hang out with you?
Oh,
I don't even really like you.
I couldn't wait to be home. That's my thing. The reason I left, I had issues. I got really homesick in terms of like being away from my family. If I was in Canada, if I was in DC, like I really missed home. So to come here, and I'm a homebody anyway. I love being in our home, but to come here to be with them, to like before we had kids, Shauna and I, it was us. We were together every day, and we would do everything together, go everywhere together. So once we had kids, you know, obviously spoiled daddy, I lost some of my quality time, you know. So now to come to be home, the kids are in school now, or, you know, our son is 7 years old. So to hang out with him and truly be vulnerable and share things with him and experience stuff with him. And then my wife, she volunteers at the school a lot. She's actually like the docent trainer for the art program. And I get one-on-one time with our daughter. I get to take her, like we're going to go to the pancake house tomorrow in the morning. So I truly cherish and enjoy that stuff. It's not like, oh, what do I do now?
Right.
No, come on, man. I couldn't wait for this day. I actually said this a long time ago, probably like year 3. I was like, man, when I retire, I just want to be a house husband.
But dude, you realize you're a unicorn.
I don't know. I don't worry about what everyone else feels.
I'm sure you don't. But I'm just telling you, and I don't know what the percentages are. I'm not saying unicorns.
I know what you're saying. I know
exaggeration. But there are a lot of women who marry into the life. They don't marry the dude. They marry the life.
They married the life, right? And
when the life goes away, it's suddenly now they're just left with the dude, and that's why there are so many post-retirement divorces among professional athletes. You got lucky.
Well, luckily for me. Well, first of all, my wife Shauna, she was in the music industry for a little bit. She had like a record deal with Def Jam for like a little bit, so she kind of like knew like the business stuff, like how it works and what have you. But fortunately for me, when I met her, I was on crutches. I had a broken foot. And I think I spent all my rookie year money. So I had nothing to offer, dude.
She was kind of slumming.
I had nothing to offer. I didn't come here I didn't come on no private jet. I didn't pick her up in no Bentley. I wasn't out there stunting and balling, whatever they want to call it. Like no Bentley. I wasn't rolling around, you know, throwing money and taking her everywhere on these crazy. No, I didn't stunt. She picked up some damaged goods, man.
How'd you guys meet?
We met through a friend. Pretty much was like, hey,
blind date,
blind call first. Thought we get along, so they exchanged numbers, and she and I spoke for about a good month. And obviously we had like, you know, social media pages, and we saw each other, and we talked whatever on the phone a lot. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna come out there. I'm gonna come out to California. This is 2008. So I came to California, met her, and then 4 weeks later, I had some jewelry.
What?
Huh?
Wait a minute. What?
What happened?
4 weeks? 4 weeks?
4 weeks.
4 weeks? You put a ring on it?
4 weeks.
4 weeks? You put a ring on it?
Damn, bro. 10 years later, we're still rolling.
Mine was kind of the same. Now, are you still friends? Here's the key. Is the person that introduced you, he or she, are they still involved in your life? Are they still close with you?
Still involved.
Because my wife and I met on a blind date, and the dude who kind of set it up promptly like disappeared from our lives. And it wasn't by our hand. Like we invited him to parties and whatever. And when we got on the bullet train too, we were probably married 2 years after we met. I think like start to finish. Yeah, but 4 weeks. I didn't go quite that fast.
You know what it was though? It's because they always say like, what was it? You know, there really aren't any like things to point out that's like materialistic or, oh, she's nurturing. She can do this. She can do that. You know, she's all in my face. She knows how to like. There's more than that. What it was is she felt familiar. You know, almost like you grew up with somebody. It was like familiar. Because me, I had a lot of space issues. I don't like people in my business, all of my stuff, or in my area. But with her, it's like she's always been there. And so this is interesting. When I brought her home to meet my father, I lost my mother when I was 6 years old, and he never remarried. So he actually spoke to her for a little bit, and he pulled me aside. He was like, you know what's crazy? He said that Shauna is identical to your mother.
Wow.
He said that she is. And I was like, that's it. That's probably exactly what it is. Because I was glued to my mom. And so she has like the same energy, the same characteristics, the same just everything. And he was like, yeah, she reminds me of my wife, your mom.
That's interesting.
And I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
that's good. We need stories. We need stories like that.
We need stories like that. So yeah, for all those out there, she met me when I was broke. No, not just my pockets, but my foot. Okay,
everything.
I was an NFL player, but I had nothing to my name. I was living in Miami, just eating cheeseburger baby every day. That was good, man. Cheeseburger baby was good.
Cheeseburger baby?
I don't know if it still exists, but yeah, it was open till like 6 a.m.
Wow.
The club goers.
She got your diet right, though. She
got my diet. She got my diet really right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my grandpa told me. I'll end with this. He said. This is before I met Shauna. He said, you need some structure in your life. This is my grandpa. Self-made millionaire. He ended up passing away in 2011. And he's like, you need some structure in your life. I was like, okay. So I married it. Yes.
Have you ever asked her what attracted her to you?
Gosh, I don't know.
You haven't asked.
We had this conversation several times, but she did say it. The fact that I'm just me, you know. I'm just
that is the worst answer. That is the worst answer.
It is the worst answer.
What does that mean?
Exactly. What does it mean? I don't know. I can get her in here really quick.
You know what? We're gonna have her on the show. We're gonna have her on the show sometime. We're gonna go over this. I want her version of all of this. Because I want to know, broken foot, NFL player, that comes with all kinds of red flags and alarm bells. And yet, she saw something, and 10 years later, that's still working. Good on you.
You act like I was a 84 Buick, man. Gosh.
Well, what?
Still working.
Flat tire. Oh, all right. We went everywhere on that. But that's it for today's episode of Bucher and Blackmon. Don't forget to follow Will on Twitter at Will Blackmon and me, Ric Bucher, at Ric Bucher. You can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Bucher Friends. Please drop us a rating and review on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. Screenshot the review and tweet it to us at Bucher Friends, and you'll be entered for a chance to win some swag. In our next podcast, I will be joined by Grizzlies small forward Kyle Anderson, slow-mo. He was there for the whole Kawhi Leonard San Antonio Spurs saga, and he was the one guy that was not complaining about Kawhi Leonard not being there. You want to know why? Listen to tomorrow's podcast. As always, thanks for listening. Will, good to dig into your background. We'll continue. We'll have Shauna on possibly in next Monday's podcast to get the real story of how the Blackmons got together. Thanks for listening.